An example is the cloth. The cloth,
The Shroud of
no
Turin's
one
been
has been able
heavily
to
debunked.
recreate it.
No.
No one has able
That's already
to
been debunked long
figure
time
out
ago.
how it's even.
No, that's not even true either. Everybody, we know exactly
Oh,
how.
wait.
It was rust. They
Tell
did a
me.
study
Google
this
it right
year.
now.
They did a
Google it
study
right now
this
and
year.
debunk me.
The fucking Shroud
If
of
it's not
Turin.
true, then why can't
If
you
you're
just
gonna not,
Google
if
it
you're
and
gonna,
show
if you're
right
gonna
now?
interrupt
Just
somebody,
read
look,
it
you
off.
need to channel the Holy Spirit and fucking chill. In 2017, the people that claimed that there was blood on the shroud redacted their study because it was wrong. Furthermore, we know exactly how that imprint is on the fucking shroud because we did a study this year and it was laid on a statue. It's a fucking Middle Ages forgery. We know it. It's a fact.
Okay, if you're gonna keep muting me, then why
You
even have a
cannot
debate?
look, does it
Well,
feel
you
good to be
also
interrupted?
interrupted our
So you
conversation.
have
Regarding
to
your fact.
either
Yes, me and PRK were talking. You just interrupted us.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why would they say that he's the Messiah post crucifixion? Like that's just absurd. And there had to be something that happened to allow them to conclude that he was the Messiah even
tradition.
after he was crucified. The tradition. Like,
Yeah, I
what
would
do you
say,
mean by
for
that?
example, a lot of people would claim that Muhammad was still a prophet after he was gone, and they would say he split the moon and stuff, but that doesn't mean it's true.
Yeah, but
okay,
what my
wait.
thing
We'll
is,
go
right?
back to the thing that you
Wait,
said there was no
Atticus, 1 second. The thing is, the disciples, right? They were they were the ones that were saying this. It wasn't just some random people. It was the people closest to Jesus. And maybe you're saying that there was a tradition that he was the Messiah. So even after he was crucified, they were holding
confused.
on to that.
So I'm gonna leave because
You just interrupted him again.
it's very obvious you can't hear me talk, or you'll mute me.
You're talking, you interrupted a bunch of
You
times.
just interrupted
Yeah,
PRK
very
again. PRK,
hypocritical.
what were you
Keep
saying at the end there?
telling me that
Yeah, I was just gonna say, for them to
Atticus,
say
sorry to
that
interrupt you,
someone's
PRK. I'll debate you any day, 100%, but please stop interrupting people. You can say as much
Okay,
as
wait,
you
wait.
want. You can say as
I
much
won't
as
interrupt,
you
but I
want.
need you to acknowledge what I say. Okay,
We
just
will.
one
We
time.
100% will. I just want to know. I can't address both of you at the same time when you're interrupting him and all kinds of just like. Let's just all chill.
Yeah. I was just going to say, right, it's wholly un-Jewish to say that a person who's been crucified is the Messiah. And I think if we're going to pick any given Jew of the time period and ask them, would you believe that someone's the Messiah who's been crucified? On
We know
average,
the
they're going to say,
Messianic-
no, obviously not.
We
you
know the qualifications for the Messiah, though. So my answer
Exactly.
for this is the reason that those people would say he's the Messiah is because they couldn't read all of the Old Testament. They don't actually know what the Messianic prophecies are. So when they're saying he's the Messiah, they're just assuming he's fulfilled the prophecies required that the Messiah has to fulfill. However, we know Jesus didn't fulfill any Messianic prophecies. Literally zero.
Yes. Well, so you're
Wait,
saying that,
You think
okay.
Jesus fulfilled no? Sorry,
Zero.
You
So
think
I
Jesus
don't think he
fulfilled no
fulfilled the
prophecies
prophecies.
ever?
Was known about the Messiah that the disciples. Then you'd have to make the argument somehow the disciples were clueless that the Messiah was supposed to be a king that was supposed to take over Rome. No, I'm sure that they were very
When
much
the Messiah
understood that the
comes,
Messiah
there's
was.
not supposed to be a war that ever happens again on the planet.
Yeah, I'm
That's
sure that
from
they were
all the
aware
Old
of these
Testament
things,
prophets
right?
say that.
Exactly. I'm sure that they're aware of these things, the disciples. So they wouldn't conclude that Jesus is the Messiah after he's been crucified. That's absolutely absurd. Why
I
would you
wouldn't
say
that
that?
they were
Like,
Jews after Jesus, though. So my argument here is that the people that didn't follow Jesus and that were still traditional Jews, that they're the people that set the requirements for the messianic prophecies, right? It's their religion. They still reject it, but the people that converted to Christ obviously aren't going to reject him as the Messiah, although they have no basis.
you know, my thing is, why did they convert, right? Why did they convert to believing that Jesus was the Messiah when he was crucified? Because they were Jewish people. These were Second Temple Jewish people. That's one thing that's very important. We have to put ourselves in their footsteps. And if they just saw their leader get crucified, you're not the Messiah, bro.
Well, we're
Pack
also
up
still
your bags
talking
and go
like
home.
these are the actual
But didn't he
disciples
rise from
writing
the
it.
dead?
Exactly, that's my point,
Fulfilled his
Atticus.
prophecy?
That's my point, Atticus.
No, I mean
the only
the
reason.
best there's so in the ending of Mark where the earliest gospels of Mark don't have the last chapter like any post resurrection appearances, and Mark is the first gospel. Every gospel comes after Mark. The resurrection is a fabrication, I think, to make his case better as being something because he fulfilled zero prophecies. That's my opinion.
Well, I would
But
just say, right, it
isn't a
flies
fact.
in the face
And
of
there
like.
are many prophecies that have come true. Actually, I haven't seen any prophecies that's been debunked.
There's no
Like-
There's
prophecy.
rarely any prophecies that Jesus fulfilled, and that actually contributes to the
actually,
argument.
There's
I
That he
could
no-
go
rose
right
from the
now
dead.
and grab some if you want.
You can pull up any of them. You're the only one you'll ever get down to that he actually did was sitting on 2 donkeys at once because the authors made that
Okay.
happen.
Wait, I can go. You want me to
No,
go find some?
yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
there's hundreds of
Yeah.
prophecies, and he may have fulfilled a few according to the New Testament, and that's according to the New Testament, which could just be false.
Actually, I actually haven't seen any he hasn't fulfilled.
You're
No,
just
hold on,
completely
hold on,
wrong.
Atticus,
So-
stop, slow down,
Any of
Atticus,
them.
Right
focus.
now.
Name
No,
one
I'm
messianic
focusing.
prophecy.
Talking,
Atticus, you're not
talking
focused.
that
Name
much.
one messianic prophecy in the
I'm-
Old Testament.
How am I
Name
not
one.
focused? Name one.
Name one
Literally
messianic prophecy.
resurrecting.
The Messiah was never supposed to die. That's not a messianic prophecy. That's a fault. That's totally wrong. Name one
Exactly,
messianic
and-
prophecy. You have no idea what you're
Messianic.
talking about.
Is that from?
Messianic prophecy. The prophecies that indicate this person is indeed the Messiah.
He didn't fulfill basically any of them, Atticus. I don't know where you got this.
No. Wait. If he didn't, then I'll just go grab some evidence right now.
Go ahead and try.
All right.
I love the Christian on Christian things because
Wait,
PRK
so
knows
if-
what he's talking about.
I got to get out of the app.
There's a few that he was born in Bethlehem. I think that was supposed to, but these aren't official prophecies.
Yeah, you know how many
There's-
dogs
these
rode
are.
donkeys?
This is incredible. But that's my point, bro. He didn't fulfill these prophecies. He was crucified.
I can't wait till she brings up
After all of
Isaiah 7.
that, why in the world would any Jewish person of that time be like, "Yep, this guy is the Messiah, bro"? And
Sorry for interrupting.
I think the only plausible explanation is that they had experiences that were so real to them that they thought that Jesus was alive again, and that's what allowed them to conclude that he was the Messiah. And I think that's an opinion that I hold, but not just me. Secular scholars do too. Bart Ehrman has said that Peter and Paul and James really thought they saw Jesus. He said that in his debate with Justin Bass.
I don't think
And,
they really thought
what's
they
his
did. I
name?
think they really whatever happened was real to them. It's not like a thought for them. It
Exactly.
really did happen. But for the same point in being is everything that happens to Muslims is real for them. They really believe that Muhammad split the moon in half. They even after he was gone, the people right after he was gone, they still thought he was a prophet. All of that. The same lens in
No.
reason can be applied to a lot of other situations.
But nobody was convinced that they actually saw him. They didn't think that they saw Muhammad split the moon in half. They weren't having a. In the case of Christianity, what these scholars are saying is no. Based on some of the stuff that I've just been telling you, no. These people literally thought they saw this. I don't think a scholar would say anybody thought they saw Muhammad split the moon in half. They could be mistaken that they saw Jesus, but I think the evidence is that they thought they saw Jesus, and that's very
They could also
compelling.
just be experiencing him personally and attributing that.
What they say is that it's an appearance, that Jesus appeared to them. And according to the 1 Corinthians Creed, which would be this oral tradition that comes
Okay,
within
PRK, a question. So
Yeah.
if for example, I have a really fundamental evangelical friends that are in, and he will say things like that. Oh, I've seen Jesus. He's appeared to me. I don't think you would believe him for the same reason that I'm sure he is seeing Jesus. I'm sure it's real, but I just don't believe it. Just same way as I don't believe the claims from the people in the first century.
Well, I don't think he's particularly telling the truth there.
See, and that's why I think you need to apply that lens to the people in the first century.
Well, I don't think that these people were lying. And so that's the thing. Were they lying or mistaken? So I don't think that they were lying because they just saw their leader get brutally crucified by the Romans. So I think that's
What do you think about the
like-
Thomas twin theory?
that seems unlikely. What you said? What?
The twin theory? Maybe they just really did talk to a guy and they were like, "Holy shit, it's Jesus!"
Jesus had a twin that could, but they had known him personally for years. There's the swoon theory that there was a Jesus imposter.
Sorry, I found a
It's
website.
on.
It
Found a
has
website.
listed all. What do you mean? It's the
Name one
Bible. It's
messianic
everything.
prophecy.
It's a website listing all the examples.
Right through
The
that.
Bible.
Let's go through them.
Can you hear me when I'm off the app?
Unfortunately
if you're
not.
off the app, we can't hear you. No.
You could just tell us. I don't know.
So, from what I know, see, this will be easier. From what I know, all the prophecies have been debunked. Could you give me one that wasn't debunked? Because then I can just Google it and do a lot of deep dives really fast instead of looking at all of these
The
examples.
way you
Because it's
just
really hard
worded
to
that,
fact
hold on,
check.
I don't
He
know if you
didn't come
worded
as
that.
a.
I don't know if she worded that the
He
correct
didn't.
way. You said give you.
He
give
didn't
me
come as a
one?
king.
Hold
Give
on,
me
she
one
said
example of a prophecy that hasn't been.
He
fulfilled.
he
Okay.
didn't come as
Yeah,
a
if
king.
he didn't fulfill any, then it should be
No,
really
okay.
easy. Give me
One prophecy that he didn't fulfill, I already did it. That there was supposed to be world peace when whenever the Messiah comes. When the Messiah comes, no wars will ever happen again. No nation will lift a sword against another nation. We know that's not true.
Okay, I can go. check right
No,
now.
that's just a fact. That's a messianic requirement for the Messiah.
It said, so the Christian Bible, the Bible said,
if there's wars on the
once
planet
the Messiah
at all,
comes back, there's no war.
almost every Old Testament prophet says that. Yes, it's in Isaiah chapter 2, it's in Micah, it's in all kinds of fucking Old Testament books that you've never read.
Okay, thank you for telling me. I will go and I will check right now because I'm very curious. So
he's
it
right.
predicted no war
Okay,
after the Messiah
let's
comes.
just for the future,
Okay,
in the future,
I'll
for
be right
future
back.
reference, I don't know if she can hear me on the app. I have a place in the background, but just one thing, and I'm sure PRK understands it. Making claims when you don't know only harms Christianity and it makes you look bad.
Or see, here's another thing. I like having these conversations because I don't know everything. And I like having these conversations. It's fun to deep dive into stuff and actually get to the bottom of stuff. And I never claimed that I knew everything. I just coming from what I know and from what I've seen and from what I think, just like you guys.
All right, then. Bro, I just, that's what I can tell you, man. I think that they had experiences where they literally thought they saw Jesus, and I don't think that's that controversial. It gets pretty controversial when we talk about whether they had him in groups or not, and stuff like that. But I think we have an oral tradition. So we have an oral tradition that comes within a few years of the crucifixion, and it says Jesus appeared to first Peter and then to the 12. So I think that's evidence that the 12 disciples were claiming that they had seen Jesus risen. And then that's the evidence that we have. So I think it's pretty interesting, and I'd encourage you to look into it more.
Back. So I did some quick research. Can you quote where exactly it was said that when he comes back, all wars will be done? Can you quote so I can Google the verse?
This isn't really
because right now it
just
says
look
that
up
doesn't
messianic
exist.
That's the most.
Can you just give me
Isaiah
the
chapter
quote or
2,
what
Micah chapter 2, probably. It's all
From
over. I
Isaiah
can't give
chapter
you
2.
the quote. It doesn't exist. It's all over. It's a bunch of quotes.
Well, so
When the Messiah comes, no wars will happen ever again.
can you give the exact thing?
There is no the exact thing.
Can
I
you
can
not
give you
search
a
for that?
bunch of exact things.
Well, it should be, if it's in the Bible, it should be a perfect quote. I
I
should be
told
able
you,
to just
Isaiah
Google
chapter
it.
2, there's probably a maximum of 40
Prediction.
sentences in Isaiah chapter 2. If you would have just pulled up
All
Isaiah chapter
wars.
2 and read it already, you would have found it. I think it's Isaiah chapter 2, verse 4. I think I give you the exact thing you're asking for, and you just kept asking. Micah chapter 4, verse 3, Isaiah 2:4. Where did you hear that isn't in the Bible? Because wherever you're getting these sources from are literally lying to you.
I know. I'm just Googling it right now. I'm just
If it's
researching.
Google
I don't know
AI,
why you're so.
sometimes it pulls from apologetic websites that sometimes it's just wrong.
I know. That's why I was trying to find the exact thing so I
I
could
told
see.
you.
But did Jesus come as a king, like a warrior that would take over enemies of opposing nations? Because he was supposed to do that if he is the Messiah, according to which I don't agree with these prophecies and stuff like that. I think that
Did Jesus
stuff's just
gather all the
false.
Jews back to Israel? Did Jesus rebuild the third temple? The Messiah wouldn't be worshipped as God either, by the way. Yep. Because I assume Atticus is a Christian and maybe her parents have said Jesus fulfilled all these prophecies. Maybe you've heard it at church, maybe you heard it on YouTube. But have you ever heard a prophecy or saw an example of Jesus doing one? I think it's irrelevant if he is the Messiah. I think if he's the Son of God is way more of an important topic.
I think if he actually raised from the dead, I think he did it by his own authority, and if that's the case, then I think that dude's God, bro. He just raised himself up. That'd be crazy, bro.
God don't exist. I think this guy in the chat's calling me gay, and it's like, no, but if I was, would it be a problem?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Are you saying I don't have a girlfriend?
I don't know where she went.
She's doing her best to figure out any prophecy Jesus fulfilled. I'm the master gay, somehow.
Well, I'm probably gonna get off for now. I might be back here soon. But dude, it's a pleasure. Dude, I know I don't want to give you ammunition, but I think it's for the best for everyone. Just hit him on biblical inerrancy, bro. That's just the easiest way to take down a Christian. Just ask them.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I also turned off volume because I couldn't read very well. So when he says there will be no more war, it means the war of the sin. When he died, he took everybody's sins. Yes, that is what it is.
No, it doesn't. You've never read the book. It says
That's why-
nation will
why
not
do you
lift
think-
sword against nation.
why do you think
You read an apologetic
it
response
talks
from a
about he
website.
takes
No,
everyone's sins? It's
no. This is not true. The Jews before Jesus existed didn't read this, and they weren't thinking, oh my God, when the Messiah comes, the war on sins is going to be over. It says, no, it will bring world peace.
No,
You're
that's
being
another
lied to.
thing.
Can you
God
go
says
read?
many
Okay,
things
open up
of what
the
he
chapter of
says.
Micah and open up
That
the.
doesn't mean
That's not
what
what
he
Jesus
says
is saying.
isn't
This
what
isn't Jesus talking. Bible isn't all
what
parables.
it is,
What
because it's his
some of
like
what
that.
Jesus says is
That is
parables. The
why
entirety of the Bible is in
that
parables.
he
You
takes the
can't
sins.
reinterpret the entire Bible. This says what it says, and it's what it
Reinterpret.
means.
That
The
is the core
Messiah,
of the entire Bible.
the
That is
Messiah
the
can't be
lead up was
God.
here.
The Messiah
Actually,
had to
the
fear
lead up
God. The
was
Messiah
he's going to
did
die for
Jesus rebuild
everyone's
the third
sins.
temple?
The war is over. He will
That's the
take our
worst
sins.
apologetic I've
And
ever heard for that. It's literally the
so,
worst
do you
one.
want me to go?
You have to find a better
Okay, wait.
apologetic response.
So
That's
that's
not
the
what it means.
prophecy, and he went through
That's
loads
not
of
the
pain,
prophecy.
withholding all of our sins, and broke.
No, read Isaiah chapter 2. I can put it up on the screen.
That
Where
means
in
sin.
Isaiah chapter 2 does it say that that prophecy is about sins? It says it's about the nations in the world fighting with swords and shit. It has nothing to do with sins. You're literally being lied to, and you're coming up here lying.
Nothing to do with sins. It's all
It has
about
nothing
war.
to do with sins. That's what it's about. That's precisely what it's about.
Wait, so if it has nothing to do with sin, the
No,
quote
that's
did
what
not
somebody's
say that.
changing it. That's what. So you Googled it. You went to an
But the
apologetic
thing is,
website,
I
right?
haven't gotten an actual quote from what you're getting all this information from. You're just acting like it's there, but it's not there. Can you give me the actual sentence? If you give me the whole sentence, then I'll just Google it. And then bam, I'll pull up all the.
We already told you.
But you can't give me the sentence.
We can.
You just say it's there.
The keywords from the sentence.
I can
The
put it up. I
keywords
can put
aren't
it
the
up on
sentence.
screen and
And
make
if
you
you were
read it.
talking about
And you would
keywords,
realize you're lying.
also
Keywords
acting
would
like
be in that
everything
Look,
sentence.
the
is
only
super
reason
for the search
specific.
Atticus,
You're
focus.
acting
You
like
didn't even read
everything
the
is
fucking
super
chapter before you
specific,
came up here and
but
started
you're
to
not
talk
giving
about it
me
again.
the
You literally,
specific
you couldn't name
sentence.
one
You're
messianic
only
prophecy.
giving me. You're
We
acting
gave
like
you
it's
both
specific.
chapters
You're not
and both
giving me
verses.
the
Okay,
specific.
You.
I didn't read them. I actually did, and it lined up with what the
No,
prophecy
you
said.
said you. No,
It
you. I'm
said
gonna read it.
eternal war.
Focus.
Oh, look at
Focus.
that.
Thank you.
Focus. Let's read it.
See, this is actually the exact thing that I found, and you were just insulting me for it.
Sorry.
Can you find the sentence where it says war is a physical, there's no more bloodshed?
Can you see the screen?
Can you read it off?
No, because as soon as I read it, you're like, it doesn't say that. Let me read it. And then you're just gonna have to read it. So read
No,
it.
no. If you read it, I swear, if it says that, then you just go ahead and read it. Because I don't see anything where it says nation either.
Now read 10 verses or read 5 verses before it and 5 verses after it and tell me where any of it's about sin.
Can you uncut the whole thing, please?
What does that mean?
Half of it is cut off. Can you go up and then
Yeah,
uncut
so
the whole
I
thing?
can't really see how it looks on the people's screens that
Just move it to the right a little bit. Yeah, cool.
Also, sorry, it's also my live. Can you move it down? And then that should be good.
We see the same thing.
Thank you. He also said in the Bible, he is the lamb, as if he was the sacrifice for all being
book from a
sacrificed.
different prophet. It's the same exact messianic prophecy that there will be world peace when the Messiah comes.
There was a man's voice.
And a few other religions say that stuff too.
All the people.
About different people.
For all the people. So also, is this talking about this judge between many people and will decide concerning nations? Is this talking about on earth?
What?
I just mean, is this talking about on earth, or is it talking
Where
about
are nations at?
from God?
Where are nations?
Well, you also everyone
at?
originates from a nation.
No, where are nations located?
On earth, but
There
we
you
all
go.
originate from a nation. And that's what I'm saying. Maybe he's talking about everything is combining. Nation shall
both
not
things,
be against nation.
They shall not learn of war anymore. When the Messiah comes, there will be world peace. There's no other way to interpret it. You're like, well, maybe if I look at it sideways and squint my eyes and turn my
that's
phone
the
upside
thing.
down,
The
then I can.
Bible is actually, especially when you take things out of context, you have to
I
learn
put the whole
nuance
chapter
with
up
the
on the
sentence.
screen. I didn't just put this verse on the screen. I put
Actually, the
whole
Old
chapter
Bible is
up.
extremely hard to
The Old Testament's not that
because
hard.
there's so much history with each
Mm,
sentence and so
no.
much meaning with each
My favorite
sentence.
back.
So you have to look at it with
No,
nuance.
just because
You can't.
you're making arguments from incredulity. That means you have no idea what the hell you're
I'm
talking about. And you're
just
saying things. Have you read the book of
incredulity.
Micah? Arguments from incredulity. Have you read the book of Micah?
No, but that's why I'm here. I'm just curious to see what you
Thank you.
guys' argument are. And honestly, this is the strongest thing that came up. And I was just trying to give nuance to what it could mean.
So, do you think Jesus was a phony or not yet?
He did
Do you think
say
that God is
that.
all good?
Yes, yes.
Do you want to dive into that a little bit?
Actually, yes, and I can definitely talk about this more because I find it very interesting.
So
Because I
the
think
more
there's a
you
lot
do
of
research
nuance with
into the
it.
messianic prophecy thing, you're going to hear the term dual prophecy. That is literally what you're doing here. Well, maybe it means this. Every single prophecy that the Messiah was supposed to fulfill, Jesus didn't fulfill a single one. So Christians say the thing dual prophecy, or they reinterpret it. But that's just all you're going to do is change it and reinterpret it, which is fine. I don't care if you're going to do that, but it doesn't mean it's true. But if God's all good, what
And
would
I
your best evidence for that be?
and I get that for sure. And it's just hard because a lot of these are taken out of context, so you have to figure out where
No, none of
exactly
them are
they came
taken out of
from and what the
context.
context is. Because
No,
context does
no. If you
very much
add
matter.
context hundreds of years later that doesn't go with the original, if you just change it later on, if Christians change these messianic prophecies later on, and the Jews are like, what the hell are you guys doing to my religion? That doesn't mean it's true. The Jews are like, no, this guy's not the Messiah because he's not the Messiah. You can change what it means. You can make it mean whatever you want in your brain, but it doesn't mean it's true.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Context really matters.
And the
Because
context of the
even
authors of the Old Testament was they were writing about a Messiah to come that they were waiting for, and this is what he was going to do. This is how we're going to identify him when he comes. Jesus didn't do any of that. None. That's why every Jew back then was like, that guy's not the Messiah. Jews nowadays are still waiting for the Messiah.
I know, but also, so I'm going to have to research. Sorry, I'm still thinking about the other sentence. And it's very interesting.
So this is a command by God, if you can read it.
I've talked about this one before. So this was during a war, and this is in the Old Testament.
Sure is.
So what? Yes. So I would say everything in the Old Testament is
That's not true.
translated. And no, and I'm just talking. The situation was these people in the war, these people were extremely, extremely
Not true.
corrupt, very evil.
Not true.
Well, in the context of the book, that's how it is. And it said that women that laid, everyone is pretty evil. Women that hurt children, or women that were, I guess what you call not a virgin, they would hurt children, like grape is what you call it. They would grape children. Males would hurt women. It was just extremely vicious
So
society.
do you know who Moses was
in the Old
do you know who
Testament,
Moses was ordered to unalive here? Do you know the group of people? So Moses was
Go ahead.
ordered to unalive the Midianites, these people. He was ordered to unalive every single person, little boys, everybody, except for young girls that they later divided up as war spoils. And why they did this was the Israelites and the Midianites finangled, and they weren't supposed to mix breeds. Israelites are supposed to only bang Israelites. So what did God say? He said, go kill those people. He didn't say unalive the fellow Israelites who also did this same thing. He just made the Israelites go kill the other people. How is that fair? How is it any better to only leave the little young girls alive that Moses gets to fucking finangle? What?
It does remind me of a different story where the firstborn child is killed. The Moses where the curses come in. The death.
We're talking about
The angel
King
of death
David's
comes
sin.
in.
King David's
I'm
sin.
talking about the same context where a bunch of children's lives were taken.
That's also
But if you look at the story, it was a punishment
No, it's not
to
a
keep this
punishment.
If you
No.
look at the story, the children were the firstborn child was taken from
This specific story, the
slave
sin was
owners
committed
because
by
they
the people
weren't
that
freeing
killed the other people. These
And if
two
you
groups
look at
of
the
people,
story,
no, these two
the
groups of
kid
people
taken
things with
very
each other.
peacefully
No, they
by
weren't.
the death of angel and brought straight to God.
No. Moses slaughtered them. In fact, Moses is pissed in the book of Numbers that other people were alive. They find out that some people were alive, and Moses gets pissed in this chapter. None of this shit you're saying is true.
Also,
Moses probably wasn't real. No, that happened.
I would agree with that, but they wrote it as if it was, and this is horrible. So look, think about it. And the Midianites fucked the Israelites. So what does God say? Only kill the people you fucked, because you're not supposed to breed with them. You're not going to be punished, but go slaughter everybody and take the little girls and then divide them up as war spoils. Then Moses finds out that some people are left, and he's like, fucking fuck, why did we murder everybody?
That doesn't. Let me see.
It doesn't sound good, does it?
No, honestly, it sounds like it's very, 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 very nitpicked and very out of
No,
context.
I gave you
That's
the
why I was
context
trying to
of it.
tell the whole
You said these
story.
people were doing bad things, but it's in fact
That's
the
why I was telling the whole
Israelites were
story of
doing
the
the bad
Moses, how
thing. You're just
there were
saying
the
one group of
slaves.
people did the bad
There was
thing.
many.
You can't just go, the Israelites had to kill these people because they were the only people doing the bad things. False. The Israelites were involved in the bad things. Why didn't the Israelites get punished? This is a common apologetic where they're
Actually,
like,
in
they were
the
doing
story that
immoral
I'm
things,
talking
so
about,
God
they
had
did
to
get
go
punished.
unalive them and all of the babies. Fuck no. It was the Israelites doing the bad shit. Not even the other people.
Weren't the Israelites? They were the slaves.
No. You want to read about that?
And Moses brought the Israelites out of slavery. In the story, Israelites were never slaves.
This is God talking to. Hold on. This is not the scholarly translation. This is God talking to the Israelites. Would you like to fucking read it? God talking to the Israelites. To the Israelites. As for the male and female slaves whom you may have, it is from every nation except fellow Israelites. You may acquire male and female slaves as long as they're not fellow Israelites. You may also acquire them if there are any aliens residing in Israel. You may pass these people that aren't Israelites, that are considered property, down to your kids forever. God actually said everybody but the Israelites were slaves. God actually commands his followers and his people to go take slaves as long as they're not treating each other bad.
Not to be confused with when it says they were in Egypt another time.
Says,
Those are two totally
no one
different
shall
times.
rule over another with harshness. His possession of your children for you.
Do you want to hear the line that if you beat your slave with a rod, that you just nothing happens to you? You're fine. You're literally allowed to beat the shit out of your slaves. We can go read that when God
If they
says that.
survive for 3 days, I think it's cool.
Yep.
That's what it says.
If they survive, if they're like, it's horrible, man.
Another thing is, it says no one shall rule over with harshness. And you have to think, if these people are homeless,
No, you
follow
read the fucking
the
verse, but
gods, the
slow
10
down.
commandments.
Slow down. It says the fellow
No, I know. I'm
Israelites
just,
will
hey,
not
I'm just
rule over
talking.
fellow
Can you
Israelites.
just let me talk?
You're
So,
misconstruing this. You're
these
conflating two
people
things. It doesn't say
are
don't.
told,
It doesn't
no one
say
shall
don't
rule over
rule
the other
over
with
the.
harshness.
You're fucking slow.
And Moses was given 10
That is not what
commandments
it
on
says.
how to
Stop
treat another
lying.
person. If
It says don't treat the fellow Israelites. It says you can treat the other slaves horribly.
it says no one shall rule over the other with harshness. No one.
Read the whole fucking thing.
But it's to be treated as slaves, but for your fellow Israelites.
But as for the Israelites, not for the other people. The other people can get beaten half to death like the other guy said. And
These may treat as slaves, but for your fellow Israelites.
You didn't read the whole thing. You know what you read? You read this fucking part of it and we're like, I'm right. You didn't read it at all.
I know, just a second.
You should have just read it.
I know, I'm trying to read it quick because everyone's talking.
No, you were talking before you read it. You were the one talking. No, you were lying. Doesn't mean what you thought it mean.
I will say, the 10 Commandments,
you can't lie like
to
that.
treat your neighbor with kindness, treat everyone with
I
kindness.
assume that you're like a
Moses did?
And it does
member of
say
Ten Commandments
society.
from the
to
mountain.
never.
Do you know what the 10th commandment is? It says don't steal your fellow Israelite slaves. Talk about the 10 commandments. You need to slow down. Stop lying. Stop trying to uphold
It
this
never
religion
says
that
anything. The
teaches.
10 Commandments doesn't mention slaves.
It sure does.
but-
Look it up. It sure fucking does.
Let me go Google.
There's 600 other things too, but nobody knows those.
It's in Exodus 20 and it's in Deuteronomy 5 where they have it. And
No, I was
commandments.
talking about.
Where do you think you get the 10 commandments from? The Bible. And when they're listed, that's where you get the 10 commandments. So when we go look at the 10 commandments,
They were
listed in the
handed
Bible,
to Moses.
no,
Moses has
that's not true.
all of the 10 Commandments.
No, he doesn't. That's not even, that's just a claim. And so if Moses got the 10 commandments and then he wrote it down, are you going to not take what he wrote down as the word? Do you think somebody saw the stone that Moses had? No, he fucking wrote it down. That's how you had the 10 commandments.
You said he wrote it down?
I don't believe
But
he wrote it down, but the story, that's how the story goes. He got this tablet and then he wrote down the 10 commandments.
So wouldn't they be, wouldn't they be there, the 10 Commandments?
Yeah, and the 10th commandment says don't steal your fellow Israelite slaves.
That doesn't, but if there's 10 things and it's written in 10 things, it never mentions slaves.
No, your
And if
cherry-picked
take
version
the
of the
10
Ten
Commandments, you would treat
cherry-picked
your
version. Your cherry-picked version of the 10 commandments doesn't say it.
But you said that there was 10 things written on a stone.
No, I said that's the story. You gotta listen. You gotta
So you
slow
don't
down
think
and
there's any
focus.
actual 10 commandments? You think that's like
No, I am telling you where they are in the Bible. I'm telling you what the 10th one is. There isn't a unified 10 commandments because the two times they're listed in the Bible contradict each other.
but the New Testament does refresh. That's why it's called the Old and the New. The new 10
Jesus didn't think that
commandments
there was an
are
Old
the
or New Testament.
finalized.
No, it's just a cop out.
But that is what that's why there's an old and new.
So
The-
you're telling me that you believe God came down and hand fucking carved into stone for Moses what the 10 commandments were and nobody got it right until somebody fucking fixed
Well,
it
Jesus
way later? That's such a ridiculous claim.
Jesus came down and taught. That's another
Jesus
reason.
came down and said, keep the commandments. He didn't say what, he didn't change them. He said, which the most important ones were, and he said, keep the 10 commandments.
So he listed the most
Anyways,
important
here they
10
are,
commandments. And
some
since it's the New
commandments.
Testament,
Can you
that's the
read?
10 commandments we keep. And since we
So
believe
here's
Jesus
one
is
of
the
the 10
Messiah,
commandments.
we kept those 10 new
I know,
10
Jesus said, don't steal your
commandments.
fellow Israelite slaves. Is that something you're supposed to do?
Says you Sorry, can you repeat that?
Jesus said to keep the commandments, and this is one of them.
Well, he listed the 10. This is in the Old Testament. Can you, sorry, scroll. That's what you're trying to.
The 10 commandments come from the Old Testament.
Well, that's not the 10 commandments, but it does mention slaves.
No, I just got what?
I mean,
Once again, we're
the
thinking
New
about the
Testament, 10 commandments, what Jesus said.
You just keep saying 10 commandments. It's like this special thing. There's 613. A little more, a little less, whichever number you want to pick.
I know, but that's why there's a New Testament, because it was very
No, there's
confusing
not.
and it was
No,
hard for
all
us
over-
to
have you read the New
understand the
Testament? Jesus
nuance
says,
with every
keep-
single
Jesus,
command. So he
if
sums
you
it all up
don't
in
do
10.
all of the laws, you'll be called least in the kingdom of heaven. There is no New Testament. As far as Jesus was concerned, there was only Testament. And he's telling you what to do, which is the
Actually,
law.
Jesus did return. He returned and actually told when he returned, the power dynamic was very wrong. The Jewish people held all of those commandments over the impoverished people. And Jesus does overthrow. He tells them.
No, he doesn't.
Here.
He throws stuff around in the temple. at
That's
one point.
because of a temple tax.
He does.
That's just because people were trying to monetize religion. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. It has nothing to do with this. Anyways, in Deuteronomy 30, God himself, after giving all of these commandments, says they're not too hard to follow. God himself says that these commandments, all 600 of them, they're not too hard to follow, and he expects you to follow them. Furthermore, when Jesus comes onto the scene, he says, if you don't teach these commandments, you're going to be called least in the kingdom of heaven. If you do teach all of these commandments, you'll be called great. He says, I haven't come to abolish the law.
He said to follow the people's law also, I think. It was weird.
Yo, my bad, Moonduck. Whenever I have to pull up scripture, I can't see the chat. Sorry. And so I think she swiped away from the app, and I don't know if she can hear us at the moment.
She can, I think.
Oh my God, that's true. Fuck, I'm gonna pull up the New Testament slavery. The New Testament just furthermore confirms slavery. It was really, I've been in her shoes. I've been in these lives all about my, you know what I'm saying? Or even just talking to people in person, not even just on lives, but I know what it feels like. But like, holy shit, whenever I found out I got lied to, I was like, man, that was horrible, brother. I gotta tell everybody. You know what I'm saying? When you found out something
It's
at
wild
school.
how in the Prince of Egypt movie, they just end it right there when he comes down with the 10 Commandments. Well, if they would have kept going, man.
Oh, dude, where
That's
Moses comes down with 3 stones and he's like, I have the 15, and he drops the one and he's like, 10
not that
commandments.
one. I know what you're talking about, the history of the world. No, like the cartoon, the Disney one. He comes down and they end it right there. But they're worshiping a golden calf and he gets pissed and stuff and a bunch of stuff happens. He makes them grind up the calf, makes them drink it. I don't know. That's just one thing.
Man, I have never seen somebody come into a live and make so many claims having never actually, because I remember being a Christian and thinking these things, but I never asserted things before I knew. My evidence for Christianity was always physics. I always tried to be sciencey about it. It was never, I know Jesus fulfilled prophecies type shit. I didn't know anything about that. But when I did learn it, I deconstructed because I was like, holy shit, I didn't know that shit.
And also that golden calf they were worshiping. That's why in Clerks 2, they work at that place. It's the golden calf named Movie. It's the mascot of that restaurant.
I wonder what she's fucking
But yeah.
looking up.
If she's out for too long, it might time out and drop. I think it's like 2 to 5 minutes. It might.
It's really interesting because it seems like really she gives us a lot of pushback at first, and then by the end of it, she's like, I get it, and then not that she doesn't say she gets it or she agrees. She just goes, I don't know. Her demeanor changes.
Better than the one dude that was up here.
Oh.
They're just like, hey, what are you talking about? Hey.
So it says the 10 Commandments were contradicting each other, but they were deepened and they're pretty
I already know
simplified.
people changed it. I already know they're not consistent. That is my claim. You can't use my claim as evidence to debunk my claim.
But it's not, and it also said it takes all the commandments, none of them were necessarily gotten rid of, more so just put into 10. It was a
Have you ever
simplified
read
version.
2 Samuel before?
None of the commandments, repeat that?
The
2 Samuel.
yes,
Wait, what about it?
the book in the Bible. Have you ever read 2 Samuel?
No.
So 2 Samuel chapter 12. I'm sure Cajun's heard this a million times. Oh shit. So 2 Samuel chapter 12 depicts God punishing King David, right? And his punishment for King David is he's going to take 10 of David's wives and he's going to have them graped in public. And yes, God's doing this. Yes, it's God causing it. Yes, God takes credit for it. And in fact, God prophesies it.
Bummer.
And then it happens a couple chapters later. And it's specifically in public. The reason it was a punishment for David, even though nothing happened to him, was because God and everybody else in this time didn't view women as people. They were property. So the men reading this thousands of years ago, well, fuck, David's property just got destroyed. That sucks for him. When I read this story, I go, damn, those girls getting raped or graped. Sorry, that sucks. I feel sympathy for the women in the story. I don't feel sympathy for King David. Dang, bro, are you shitting me about that shit? It's only me. I
Kinda
was
like
saying
when Lot offers up his daughters to the king, to the townspeople, so that the angels don't get raped. They just did not care. That shit back then.
But I think she's already looking it up.
So actually, if you'd like, I'm going to actually do a lot of reading because I am curious. And I also want to say I have my own arguments and my own reasons, but I really, really want to hear other people's reasons, and I want them to hear my reasons. And I'm going to take all that stuff, I'm going to read a lot into it. And if you want, I can even follow you and join you after I've read, because it's just so much to read and interpretate right now.
Oh, 100%. This is probably the one you should read up on.
Honestly, I might just try to do it all out and just literally read the entire book. Literally. I'll get back to you in a month.
Hey, if you do come back in a month, it'll be a cool YouTube video. I have had people come back before.
Also, because I am curious, and I don't mean to come off as like, oh, I know everything, because I really don't. But I
No.
have a lot of reasons, and I have different arguments, and there is physical proof, and there is history, and there is 10 Commandments, but there's just so many there's so much history. It's really hard to interpretate and connect everything. It's just so hard, especially when it's out of context. So I'm really, literally this month, I'm just going to be reading the Bible, and I will get back to you. It's just so hard to like, okay, this comes from what, and that comes from what, and this is what in the context of what, or this. But thank you
I'll tell you is
for
that
giving me some stuff to look at, and I'm just going to read it.
it's way less reading than you think. It's split up more. There's very few sentences per chapter. Half the page is fucking not even filled up by text you have to read on a Bible. It's way faster reads than you think it is. It's a big, scary book, but it's not that big.
Well, I'm going to read the whole thing, and thanks for talking. It's been very chill. I think it's been a very interesting conversation too. I'm really
Oh man, she's in the shadow room.